Hi, and welcome to episode 9 of the Running with Kelly podcast, where we talk about all kinds of running topics. My name is Kelly Nash, and I'm an RRCA certified running coach. And joining me today is my co-host, my best friend, and my favorite running partner, Alex Kroll. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. How are you today, Kelly?
Fantastic. Today we're going
Awesome.
to talk about pre-race rituals. Both Alex and I have races this weekend, and she has another one the weekend after that. So we thought it would be fun to identify the weird things that we might do leading up to our race, um, and different things we have to do every time we have a race. I'm excited to dive into this topic, but I know that you have a public service announcement for us, Alex.
Well, I'm so glad you brought up racing because you know what this weekend is. This weekend, among other things, is the Heritage Hero Run, Stroll, and Roll. That's this Saturday, the 9th, at Seabreeze Amusement Park. We're going to start and end there. Thanks for putting up that graphic. There's a 5 and a 10K this Saturday at Seabreeze. I'm going to be racing the 10K. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great race. It's a great organization, and there's still time to register. Go to www.heritagehero.org to register, and you can use a coupon code RWK, save $5 off your registration. If you can't make it this weekend, or if you're like, hey, I want to do two races 2 weekends in a row, you can head on down the thruway to Beaver Island State Park on Grand Island. There's a 5K that Heritage is running on the 16th. We're going to have lunch there, tons of fun family activities, a basket raffle. It is a great bunch of races for a great cause. I'm really excited. Um, I'm going to get my ritual on soon.
You
So
are.
we're getting there.
Yes.
So
So if
I'm
you sign
excited.
up, you're going to be racing with Coach Kroll, and I'm really excited. Alex, you've been on point with your training, and I know between this coming weekend and the next race, you have your Ragnar. You've got a lot of rituals to get through in the next couple of weeks.
We sure do. And I want you, before we're all done, I want to hear all about your Adirondack races coming up this weekend because I know our listeners will want to hear about what you're up to as well. So
I'll
we'll
dive
get
into
there.
it. Excuse me. So rituals, they help bring meaning and control when we feel like we have the least control, which is race week. I always get a little nuts. Always. My family knows, oh yeah, mom's got a race this weekend because she's
For sure.
acting a little loopy. But I thought it would be kind of fun to actually look up, well, what is the actual definition of ritual? And the Webster Dictionary says it's any act or practice regularly repeated in a set, precise manner for relief of anxiety. And that's basically what we do. I feel anxious about a race, or anxious about big presentation or event at work, and so there's a certain way I do things leading up to it that helps relax, helps ease the anxiety. And that's what those rituals are. So when I was doing some research, looking up some articles online, I found Kelsey Griffith, who's a performance enhancement and rehab specialist. She says for athletes, this pre-performance ritual is a signal that it's go time. It's those things that you do to get you ready for uh, the big event. And she says the idea is to pair certain thoughts and behaviors with the anticipated performance in order to alleviate nerves and establish focus. They help the athlete get into the right headspace to go out and perform optimally. That came from a Runner's World article, and I really like the way that that is worded. There's certain thoughts and behaviors like uh, baking, over baking, or going out to buy a whole bunch of new running stuff that we really don't need. There's these behaviors that we pair with the anticipated performance, which is a really great race. So if
Yeah.
they're paired together in our head, that's why we feel we need to do those rituals to keep getting those results. And I know, Alex, we had talked about a couple things that we do. I bake a lot, or whatever, the leading up to race week. What kinds of things, like, John might be like, oh yeah, she's got a race this weekend because she's doing this.
Well, a couple of the things I tend to do is I do get a little anxious before races. Um, I tend to do a lot of the same rituals. I'll wear the same things. I have lucky socks that I'll wear. I will absolutely, take a couple days off. I try to eat the same foods. Um, I taper down in a certain way. Like I want my headspace, like it says here, get in the right headspace. And when I do certain rituals, whether it is, certain clothes or the way I run my last, training run, sometimes if I have a great training run and I'm supposed to run like the next day, I might not because I feel great. And you're like, that this was the training run I wanted, and this is where I want to be when I get into my race space. So there's a lot of things that go on in runners' heads. Just like any other athlete, we are a little neurotic and we like our rituals and our routines, um, especially leading into race weekends for sure.
Definitely. And we're not alone. So I started looking up different pros and what they do, what some of their rituals are, and there's a lot. We could talk for an hour about what everybody's pre-race routines and rituals are. But just to name a few, Sarah Hall, who's a professional marathoner, she listens to Lindsey Sterling's 2012 album for her warm-ups before marathons.
Oh,
And
cool.
I don't know if you know Lindsey Sterling. I think we talked about her a little bit. She's a great violinist who was on
Hmm.
America's Got Talent. She's fabulous, but it's just not something I would have thought of to get you pumped up for a race. But now I want to go back and listen to it.
Right. No, it's true that music makes a humongous difference. I have a ton of different playlists that I put on for different kinds of workouts, and then I have some specific race day playlists that I like that really get me motivated. So that's part of the routine too. Music definitely fits.
For sure. Molly Huddle, she's an American half marathon and 10K record holder. She relaxes with getting her nails done and doing nail art the night before. Um, and I dig this. I used to paint my nails before a big race because when it would be like tough in the middle of the race, I could look at my nails and be like, oh, I got pretty nails. I haven't done that in a number of years, but I think I might have to look it up. So these, there are actually different kinds of nail art you can get that is a Molly Huddle brand. So I'm gonna have to
Oh,
look
cool.
for that.
I may have to do that since I'm doing my nails again. I think that would be kind of fun. So,
It might for this race, and she does choose different nail art depending on the event. So this one that's in on the slide here is from New York City. She had a different one for Boston. She's got different ones for different kinds of races. So you'll have to see what's for. Maybe you can get some kind of a amusement park done nail art on your.
yeah, something a little funky and maybe some swirls, something that looks like a roller coaster.
I think it would be super
Would
cool.
be kind of fun.
Oh, and sometimes it's watching the same show on TV. So this
Oh,
Melanie
I
Reifert,
love this one.
this one is great from Houston. She always watches this same episode. This is the episode of The Office where they were doing a 5K and Michael Scott eats fettuccine alfredo right before the 5K. And you can see it here. I ate more fettuccine and drank less water than I have in my entire life.
I actually have the race T-shirt from that race from the episode. So Olivia and I have the run for the cure for rabies
Rabies.
T-shirts from that episode.
Oh my gosh, that is fun. But she wrote in the article that I had read that she watches it because it just makes her laugh and it just settles her down. And because she's seen it a million times, it's just kind of this familiar um, routine that just makes her feel a little bit more comfortable and confident and not so anxious. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I thought now that we know some of those things that the pros do, and I know you mentioned you do some of this as well. What are some other of your pre-race rituals?
Yeah, all right, so you'll see my list here. This was a quick list I came up with. I talked a little bit about tapering down 2 days. I do like 2 days of rest leading into especially a big race. The reason for that is then I kind of feel like a caged animal, like I'm really ready to run after taking 2 days off, that my legs feel fresh, my brain feels fresh, and I get to the starting line feeling really, really good. And I appreciate those 2 days off because it gets me in the right headspace and it gets me really anxious and not anxious, but maybe excited to run. I think excited is a better term for it. So I taper 2 days. A good night's sleep, and this seems a little counterintuitive, but really it's 2 nights before is when I need my best sleep because I'm always a little anxious before race day. So I don't sleep very well the night before a race. But if I get a really good night's sleep, like 2 nights before, I'm good. I'm ready. Um, Another good thing to remember is just I charge everything. I make sure I plug in my watch and have my music ready. My headphones are ready. Anything I need. Um, you want to get to the starting line with everything charged up. Um, Clothing and shoes, I do have Lucky socks. I have some that say Bad Mother Runner. I love them. I have some Soul Sister ones. I have some that just say Run Hard. So kind of silly inspirational stuff, but I like sliding them on and sliding my shoes on and feeling like my feet are ready to go. You'll see there's a picture of me with my pigtails. About a year and a half ago, I started wearing my hair in pigtails when I ran. Um, and my friend Kathy, who runs with us, likes to give my pigtails a little pull at the beginning of a race if she's there. Um, so that's just kind of my pigtail power thing. It's cute, it's fun, it's just a silly ritual. I think it makes me run faster. Debatable maybe, but that's kind
Yes,
of fun.
absolutely it
Warm up drills. This is a Coach Kelly special, and I thank her, I thank you for introducing me to warm up drills, whether it's high knees, butt kicks, skipping, grapevine. It really, really helps to warm up your body before you get to the starting line. So I do try to make those things happen before I get there because then I'm ready and mentally it really helps to get me in that headspace. And so as we're thinking about the headspace here, we have next visualizations, the power of positive thinking. Leading into race day, I always try to get an idea of what do I want to accomplish with my race. So I'll try to come up with 3 goals. I'll have an A goal, a B goal, and then a C goal, so that I always feel good after a race. That like if everything works out great, I'll hit my A goal, whether it's a time goal or maybe it's I want my last mile fastest. That goes along with that positive thinking. So I'll visualize myself having that race where my last mile is my fastest, or I hit 25 minutes for a 5K, whatever that goal is, I try to visualize it. Or like I know this weekend's race has a big hill. I visualize myself going up that hill and not stopping and not slowing down. Um, and that definitely helps. And so along with that too, with the positive thinking is having positive people in your corner. Um, if you have, a good friend who sends you like an email that hypes you up the night before a race or a reminder to put your body glide on so you're not miserable after the race. Those kind of things are really important too, to have, your friends, the people you love, the people who love you, you know, cheering you on is really, really important. So that's part of my ritual too, is to reach out to those people. And then this one's really specific. I start on the right side of the starting line about a third of the way back. No matter the race, that is my spot. And if I don't get into that spot, I'm not in the right headspace. I don't know why. I'm not sure where this started, but I got into this place where I didn't want to start too far ahead because I'm not that fast, but I don't want to start near the back because then I'm jackrabbiting around people. And even though I'm kind of short and I can do that, I don't really like doing that. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt myself. So I find if I start all the way on the right side, about a third of the way back, I'm not in anybody's way. And I'm not going to be jackrabbiting around people who I'm trying to get faster than. So that is my spot. I
now,
will get to a race early to get my spot.
what if you can be a third of the way back, but you have to be on the left side?
I'll quit. I won't race that day. Or maybe I'll buy somebody's spot on the right side. I'll offer them a 20. I don't know.
Hopefully that will never happen. I really hope you always have that third of the way back on the right side start.
I know. And so, when we talk about rituals and routines, I know that's a weird one. Um,
I love it though.
but it matters to me. It's like the pigtails and the socks. And I always wear Running with Kelly. There's my shameless plug. A Running with Kelly shirt. Those always bring me good luck too. And I have a rainbow of colors now and styles. So I always find one. The only thing I'm sad about is I somehow lost my favorite green Running with Kelly sweatshirt. Like years ago, I have no idea what happened to it. It vanished into thin air. and it was my absolute favorite. So every once in a while, a Facebook memory will pop up, and I'm in that sweatshirt, and I'm like, I miss my sweatshirt.
Oh, I'll order some more. I'll put an order in this winter.
So there's another ritual, right? Like when we talk about routines, I need my running with Kelly gear to run fast.
So looking
So
at these rituals, we'll get to some of mine in a second, but just curious, you do have this 10K coming up. What socks are you gonna wear? What shirt are you gonna wear? How early do you need to get to a race? Like what is it gonna look like
um
for you this week?
so in regards to socks, I really think I'm probably going to wear my Soul Sister socks because this is kind of your race. Um and I know so many women who are doing this race too that this feels very much like a Soul Sister race.
Love it.
Um what color am I going to wear? I will most likely wear hot pink. That seems to be I like that color on race day because it really stands out. So it's gonna be hot, so I'm gonna go probably like the singlet type tank top. So that's what
Like
I'm wearing this weekend.
what and how early do you have to get to a race to feel like do you have a ritual with that? Like
Kind of depends on whether I pick up my bib the night before. Like if I'm really on point, I'll get my bib the night before. That's a good ritual to get into as well because then you're not panicked the morning of a race to be like, oh my gosh, I need to get my bib that morning too. I'll try to get there about 45 minutes in advance because then I can warm up. I'm not stressed about getting to the starting line and I'll get my spot a third of the way down on the right side.
that's right. You gotta get there a little early for that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll probably get there about 45 minutes before race time. And that gives you a chance to visit with people too, because you see a lot of people you know at races, and um, it's always a good time to catch up with folks too.
It's true, for sure.
So,
Well, I have a lot of the same some of the same pre-race rituals. Probably my biggest one is I always sleep in my if it's a big race. Like sometimes I'll do some 5Ks that it's not it's not what I had been training for, but like training for a marathon or an ultra. Um, I like to sleep in my first marathon singlet for the Stroke Association, and in it, on it, I put my father's photo on there.
oh,
Put some scripture on there, and my mom signed it, my siblings signed it, my husband signed it. Um,
that's really cool.
it's very special, and I love that I still have it. It's from 2006 was my first one, and that's a little bit short.
Wow,
So, but I do like to sleep in that. Um, I when we had talked about different music, I like to listen to Young the Giant, My Body before ultras because, or even full marathons because my body feels like it's saying no. That's the lyrics. My body says tells me no, but I won't quit. So I like to listen to it. It just puts me in that zone of it's going to be hard, but I won't quit. Um,
yeah,
I mentioned I get very antsy race week. I don't think my family and friends love being around me the week of a big race. And for me, this week has been. And I just realized earlier today the reason why I've been acting so ridiculous. I'm always anxious when I'm a race director and it's race week because there's
oh,
so
you have a
many.
double whammy.
Yes, there's so many things I need to finish up and
Yeah,
take care of before I leave. And I have this big race. I've never done a stage style race before where there's 3 days of races. So I'm anxious about that. I'm anxious about this race. So I'm extra nuts. So I'm very, I get talking and I'm probably doing it right now too much, too fast. I start to
you're
pace.
you're good.
I buy stuff I don't need. I think something, my knee is definitely injured right now, and of course it's fine. So there's different things like that. It's just I act really loopy. So sometimes, well, it's funny. My family knows. They're like, it's race week. It's just Kelly being Kelly. Um,
Right.
so they can handle me. But so that's pretty much the stuff that's different. I do use visualizations a lot. Always use coffee. Have some go-to meals like I love having salmon and sweet potato 2 days before a race, and I like having pasta the night before a race. So those are some of the things that I get, and I
Yeah.
do for someone that's not very organized. Me, I do like to make sure I have all my ducks in a row before a race. My husband thinks it's hilarious. It's the only time in my life that I like to be somewhat organized, but I do like to make sure I have my supplies out, different, socks I'm going to need and different clothes we're going to need. And uh, so those things are important to me. I know, Alex, when we kind of went through the slides and we're talking earlier today, we talked about the difference in your race rituals when it's a local event and how it changes when we travel. I'm traveling
Yeah.
for my race this week. You're traveling for yours next week. What are some of those
Right,
things
right.
we have to, those extras that we have to keep in mind?
Food, I think, is at the top of my list. And my nutrition, I think, when I travel for races, I'll bring a lot of my own food, especially like the morning of race day. Like I will bring a banana and some sort of like I'll even bring my own coffee if I have to. Like we were joking earlier about bring your own Keurig machine so that you can have your own coffee. I would totally do that. Um, so that is humongous to me, and like trying to find a place to go to dinner the night before where you're going to get something that won't bother your stomach. um, you want a little bit of protein, you need some carbs, and a lot of it too depends on what race you're running. That if it, I just if it's a 5K or a 10K, I don't think too much about carbo loading. But for bigger races, I do try to get more protein in a little bit a few days before, um, and then have that carbo load. Like we've all kind of heard that phrase before. Um, for me, that's a little bit less important because I eat enough carbs on a regular. I eat too many carbs on a regular basis.
I love me my
Um,
carbs.
but I think as far as destination races go, I think nutrition is at the top, and also sometimes sleeping somewhere funny.
Sleep.
Like if you're sleeping in a hotel room or you don't have like, I'll bring my own pillow. There's another ritual. Or routine. I'll bring my own pillow.
Clothes is something that stresses me out when traveling because I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I bring, the right socks and the right
Hmm.
shorts, and the right shirt, the right sports bra. Make sure I pack
Yeah.
the body glide, and make sure I have clothes to change into after, and the PR soles and the right sneakers. And what if I want trail
Right.
shoes? And what if I want the racing flats? And so it's so many things, and that's how it really
Right.
it's race
The
week.
whole suitcase for a weekend.
Yeah, yes. I have just my running suitcase. And it's funny if
Yeah.
we travel somewhere, this is my running suitcase. Okay, this is where I put the rest of my clothes, which is about half the size of the running suitcase. So
Didn't you once bring two of the same shoe on vacation once?
I
Or
brought
two right sneakers?
two right sneakers of a color of a shoe that looked very similar, but yes, they were not a pair. And I can't remember, did I run in those? I might have actually bought a pair of sneakers on the vacation.
I think you did while you were down there. So always a good reason to have to buy new sneakers.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So, oh, well, this has been fun. I am really excited about um the Heritage 10K. I'm so sad I won't be there to see you, Alex. You've been crushing your training.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I wish I was going to the Adirondacks with you. Why don't you mention a little bit to our listeners, what does this stage race look like that you're going to be doing the end of this week?
Oh, 2 years ago I went and did the marathon, the Old Forge Marathon, and I went there and there were races going on Thursday and Friday too. And I kept looking. I'm like, well, what is that? Oh, it's called the AD Crazy. You do all of these races. So I'm like, well, I want to do that. So I signed up this year. So I'll be arriving in Old Forge Thursday afternoon. Thursday at 5 p.m. is the 5K. And then Friday morning at 8 o'clock, at 8:30 in the morning is the half marathon. And then at 4:30 in the afternoon is a 10K. And then at 8 in the morning, Saturday, is a full marathon.
Wow.
So 48 racing miles between 5 p.m. Thursday and whenever I'm done on Saturday. So I'm super excited. I just hope I remember to pack everything.
What do you think is what seems like the most challenging part of that?
So when I did a marathon a couple years ago, it was very rocky and my feet felt beat up. So I think just being able to keep my feet in good condition is going to
Hmm.
be the hardest thing. I also know they're calling for possible thunderstorms, and it's going to be hot. So those will be, issues. But I did prepare with getting some trail shoes with a rock guard in them. So I did
Oh, cool.
a short run in it yesterday to test them out. But One of the big golden rules of running is to never try anything new or wear anything new on race day. And these are going to be just almost new because I've only worn them once.
Wear them tomorrow. Then you'll have a good 10 miles on them. You'll be ready to go. They'll
I'll
be
have to
broken
do that.
into. Well, one of the things you kind of touched on, and I guess this should go into pre-race rituals too, is hydration. Especially, I'm thinking about it a lot this week with how hot it is. Um, that if you wait till race day to hydrate, it's too late, right? That
And so
you
I
have
like
to.
to
We're like a plant. You
plant.
gotta water us every day.
So my podcast studio here is my son's room. He's in college right now, but he's got a plant over here that I keep forgetting to water. It's just making me laugh. But it's if you don't water your plants, a week goes by, it's really dry, and then you're like, I gotta water that plant, and you throw a gallon of water on it, it's not gonna help. So
Yeah.
think of your body like that. You want to water it all week long. Keep topping it off, and we'll be good to go on race day. I do think about that. I've actually been drinking water and some Propel water because I like a little bit of flavor
Okay.
in there.
Yep.
What's your go-to electrolyte, Alex?
I tend to use Noon. I'll probably drink one in the morning every day, especially this week. I'm going to try to get those electrolytes in. Um, so I'll drop, one of those tablets in 16 ounces of water, and I'll chug that in the morning first thing. So at least I'll have that. And then I do have an obnoxiously large 64-ounce bottle of water that I carry with me during the day, and I try to make sure I drink that as well. I don't know about you, but I find when I don't hydrate now, I notice it.
Oh
That
yeah,
like I'm having my water with me all the time. So, that's really really an important point. I don't know if it's really a ritual, but it's definitely an important part of a routine of getting ready for race day.
absolutely. Oh well, thank you, everyone. Alex, thanks for joining me on this. This is so much fun. I'm super excited about the Heritage 10K.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you. We're going to have a heck of a couple of weekends.
Let's remind
So
our listeners, if you want to join Alex at the Heritage Hero, you can go right to www.heritagehero.org, and you can choose the 10K or the 5K. If you do the 10K, you'll be running with Alex, and enter the
please come join me. It's going to be a great time.
run with her. Enter promo code RWK for your $5 off. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you all found this informative and entertaining. We'd love to hear from you, so leave us a comment and tell us what your pre-race rituals are. Happy running, everyone.